Actually, let's just switch positions. So I want the opposite leg in that front position, so it should feel awkward. Let's just stay in this position for just a little bit. And then go ahead and just walk the hands forward. Keep the sitting bones pressed firmly to the earth. Try to keep the spine really long. So let's see if we can lengthen a little bit more here. So lift up, try to lift up from, yeah, like that, yeah. Walk it back just a little bit more. Walk the hands back a little bit. Yeah, nice, yep, that's better, good. Now so you can come up to the fingertips, you can keep the palms flat, whatever you want, but I want you to do a few cat and cows in this position. So you really try to dome the upper back. So just like you were doing cat and cows, but you're just in a different position. We get into these habits of the way we move the body. So we sit. Now, when we sit for our meditation practice, for the pranayama practice, then by all means, you need to have the same seat every time. But when we're doing the asana practice, we want to mix things up a little bit. So we want it to feel a little awkward because we're moving away from what we typically do, from that habit of which leg is in front here. The next time you dome the back, I want you to stay there. So when you're really, really, really into that rounded upper back here. So keep the back in this position, but move the hands around a little bit. Maybe you want to come up to the fingertips. Maybe you want to slide the hands out and you want to grab the side of the mat. Maybe you want to flip the fingers so the fingers are pointing to the sides or to the back or to the middle of the mat. Mess around with it. When you feel like you've reached a spot that feels a little bit like, but you're working on trying to keep the back domed. So when you've reached a really lucrative spot, stay there. Now we're going to switch positions with the back, same thing. So let's play around with the hand position. So now you're going into that cow version. So you try to really move into the lower back. Same thing, mess around with those hands. So when you get to that spot that feels like you're going to get some benefits here, stay there. Couple more breaths. And then go ahead and release, walk it back. Push the legs forward, give them a little shake and come over to all fours. When you get to all fours, do 5 cat and cows. Five cat and cows with the hands flat, fingers splayed, either pointer finger or middle finger parallel to each other, and then 5 where you've suctioned and you're on the fingertips. And then come back to neutral. So you've done a total of 10. And when you get to neutral, we might want to stagger a little bit because we're going to lift the left arm out, but I want the left arm, so we're making half of a T. So instead of the full T, we're making half a T. So stagger a bit so that your arm won't smash into your neighbor's. Now bring the legs together. I don't want the legs going anywhere but perpendicular to the floor. So take a quick peek at those legs. Make sure they're not sliding over, leaning over to the left or to the right. Try to keep the arm completely parallel to the floor. Yeah. Oh, Mason, do you want to maybe, because you've got some long arms like me, maybe angle. Yeah. Yep. Yep, there you go. Sorry, we've got you all crunched up in the corner. Now we are going to hold this for a minute. Sorry. You can have the gaze down. Nice. Or you can have the gaze ahead, straight ahead, but whatever feels most appropriate. Bring this up forward just nice. You might feel the belly start to engage here. Maybe some little shaking might be happening or not. Now you can either be on the fist of the bottom hand or the hand can be flat and splayed. And while you're here, I'll be right back. Switch to the second side. Thank you. So while you're here and you're holding this arm nice and straight, slide those legs back. I want them right under the hips. Right there. Nice. Ask yourself the question, who am I? And really think about like the 5 things that pop up first. So I'm going to come back around and I'm going to parallel the arms a wee bit. There. So who am I? Okay, release. Now, if you need to do a cat and cow to kind of reset, that would be fine. And if you need something underneath the knees, always you've got the option to a blanket. Now, I want you to separate the legs, just not quite the distance of the mat, but almost. So maybe like, what would that be? Like 2 or 3 inches from the edge of the mat. So you're in that same position with the arms, but the legs are spread. Lift up that left arm. We're going to hold it for 1 minute. Parallel. There we go. Don't let the navel drop. So if you think about those 5 things that pop into your mind about who you are, who am I? So I know the legs are wide, but still don't let them lean one way or the other. Keep that focus on the breath. Mason, do you want to use my mat? He's all like, switch arms. Parallel. Look at that arm and see if it's parallel. You know, all these things that we come up with and we say that we are, we're not. But we don't think about why it is that we're not. Because whatever we are, when we are, so we are the soul, but we have to pull through all these other false identities. We're not changing. Nothing about us will change. So all of those other things that change are false identities. Just like I was a baby. I'm no longer a baby. If I was a baby, I would always be a baby. And release. Bring the legs back to that neutral position, so right underneath the hip pointers. You might want to have a block handy, and we still might want to stay in that staggered position a little bit. So the block can make it, and if you can use 2 blocks as well. So you're going to keep the right hip right underneath, so it's right hip right on top of the right knee. Then you're going to take the left foot and you're going to slide it straight out. So I want the left hip, left knee, left ankle. The foot depends on flexibility. So you can have the toes up, you can have it down, you can have it pointed to the side. So whatever feels, but I don't want the right knee to be, or the right thigh to be one side or the other. Now I want you to drop down to the form. Now this might be where you need the block. So you can drop, if you're comfortable on the form, by all means go to the form. But if you need that block, and then I want you to bring that left arm up. Gaze can be down, straight ahead or up. So maybe you can take a peek, make sure that the right thigh is perpendicular to the mat. That's good. We put here, we have a little more stability. Make it a little bit more better. So I can say, I am a yoga teacher. But if I am a yoga teacher, I would always be a yoga teacher, always teaching. I am a daughter. I would always be a daughter. Both of Linda's parents are dead. She's not a daughter. The problem is when we also start identifying with these emotions. I am sad. If you're sad, if that's really who you are, you will always be sad. And we all know we can change 5 minutes and we can go through 20 different styles of emotions. Switch the arms, but keep the leg there. If you need that extra height, put the forearm on a block. I am happy. Ultimately, that is what we are, but we've mistaken and we don't understand what pure happiness is. So our happiness fluctuates based on if the ego is getting stroked or if the ego is not getting stroked, if we're getting what the ego wants or not what the ego wants. I'm angry. The ego's angry, the ego's sad, the ego's happy. The soul is neutral, the soul is balanced. The soul is always in a state of equanimity. That's who we are. But we have so falsely identified with all of these things, and it makes it harder for us to realize who we are. Let's see here. Okay, bring it back up, and then you're going to bring the arms up. So now what I want you to do, and if you need to have this blanket underneath the knee, go ahead and get the blanket there. Now you're going to slide, so it's half of straddles pose kind of. So you just slide out as far as you can. And you can wrap it around. If you can take it all the way down, take it all the way down. You only take that left leg out as far as it will go. If you need to stay high on the arms, you need to keep the arms lifted, fully lengthened. If you can drop down to the forearms, drop down to the forearms. Don't push it. Be mindful of where you are.
It's okay to let this thigh.
Yes, yep. The thigh is going to go out. The right thigh, so it doesn't have to stay. Because before we were trying to, so yeah, you've got it. It's already going that way. Okay. So see how it's, okay. Yep.
Do you want foot flat? Left foot?
Whatever is going to work for you.
Okay.
So the next time we get into a situation where we're like, I'm so angry, maybe pause and say, why is the ego angry? I want that front leg to stay parallel to the short line of the mat though. So that's pretty important here. You can do whatever you want with the foot.
Am I parallel?
You are parallel, yes. Right, I'm gonna slide the butt forward. Yeah.
Okay.
There, so that right there.
Oh, I see.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Kaylee, bend just a little bit because of the knee or hyper. Yeah, nice. Go ahead, walk it back. And we're going to switch to the second side. This is part of that self-study, that examination. So first we start down on the form and we do that twist. So left arm down, right arm up first. Let's really focus on joint stacking. So elbow, shoulder, we slide all the way up, shoulder, elbow, wrist, middle finger. Gaze down or straight ahead. That choice is yours, my friends. So part of this quest of knowing ourselves is being constantly vigilant. Constantly mindful. So, yeah, nice. Okay, let's switch the arms. Mason, I'm going to turn. Nope. There we go. Nice. Because the ego is constantly taking us on a ride. And those rides really aren't enjoyable. They're addicting because we've done it so many times, it's what we know. But it's not enjoyable. Is it enjoyable feeling sad? Is it enjoyable feeling angry? Is it enjoyable having those agitations? Even those moments where we're excited, right? There's also this dread behind it, anticipating that it's going to end. So we must constantly ask, why is my ego agitated right now? Okay, let's come up and then we're going to slide that leg out. Same thing, you can stay high, you can drop to the forearms. I just want that leg parallel to, so if you're facing towards the window, it would be parallel to the short, long line of the mat. If you're facing towards the kitchen, long line. If you're facing towards me, short line.
This is where, like, we spread it as far as we can.
Mm-hmm. Alexa, I'm going to have you, actually, I want this knee on this.
Yeah.
And then, so go ahead and then try to scoot that leg out as opposed to this one. Yeah, you can go over on Riley.
Just on my feet there.
There's a phrase that I really don't like. It's the butt hurt phrase. We've talked about this before. There's nothing about the butt that gets hurt. It's the ego that gets hurt. We need to start being really honest. That's a lie. Even though we're not intending it to be a lie. Oh, she's butt hurt. Oh, I'm butt hurt. No, my ego is really bruised right now. And I'm agitated because my ego is bruised because I didn't get my way. And bring it back up. Nice and slow. Like there's any other way. Then come back to all fours. Face it. We'll have everybody face the front now. I think we should be okay. So you might want to have the blocks up at the front. And then I want you to bring your right leg forward. Shimmy that left leg back. Turn the right foot to the side and then flip it over on its side. So now this is where, and I want both hands on the inside. So if you want blocks, you can have blocks. That's perfectly fine. So after you've been here for a bit, so let's say at least 3 good breaths. If you feel like you've got more in you, then I want you to drop down so that the left forearm is parallel. And you don't have to, so if you just want to drop down with the arms on the floor or on blocks, that's totally fine. But if you feel like, okay, now you're ready to go into it and you've got a little bit more, then you're going to turn the left arm parallel and you're going to grab. So the right foot is on its side, but you're going to grab that right ankle. And then I want you to push the right leg away with the right hand. Yeah, just like that. So the right foot is on the side and the right toes. So see if you can turn the right toes, the angle this way, and then flip it over. Yeah. If you can't grab the ankle, you can always put the arms on blocks. So left hand is grabbing right ankle. Mm-hmm. Some really fluid breaths here. See if you can come a little more on this side. This foot. Yeah. Yep. Oh, well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, if you can, go ahead and bend the left foot and grab that left ankle, toe, sock.
With which hand?
With the right hand. Did you say with my chin?
No, which hand?
Oh. That's a new game of Twister.
Big one,
So you've made this lock with the body. Everything's sealed in here.
And this It's better than that.
It's fine, yeah. Just a couple more breaths here. And you need to be really mindful. This is you taking responsibility for the body you're traveling in. No awards are given for going beyond what you should go. In yoga, you don't even get a participation award. You just got to do the work. You got to show up and release. But so take the foot flat. Let's knee right on top of the ankle. Same thing. So this might be where you might want to have some blocks. And I want you to walk the hands back. So if the hands can touch the ground, right in line. So if you can't do that, then by all means have the hands on blocks, but I want it right in line with the hip pointer on both sides. And make this a little more active. So the back foot, the toes, let the toes or the shin, the knee pull forward while you bring this back leg or the front leg back. So you're trying to scissor the legs. Nice, Miss Conway. So back to this, I am, these emotions, which we are not. When you're in the throes of some really strong emotion, pause. We want to start seeing ourselves, observing ourselves in that. And sometimes we can stop it. Sometimes we can't. But the more we stop it, the more we know we can. Or as Alessa says, sometimes we go down with the ship. We're just going down. And we can see ourselves going down. Go ahead, release. Bring that leg back. Do a couple cows. Do a couple of cat and cows and reset and bring that second leg forward. And we get to start the whole thing over. So last week I had an experience where I was watching myself. And it's so interesting because we get into that emotion and we feed that emotion and we feel that emotion, right? That adrenaline of the emotion. So the same thing, we bring that leg forward. You turn the toes towards the corner of the mat. You bring it to the side. You get established so we don't just drop down and hook the ankle if we can. Let's get some breaths there. And then if we hook the ankle, that's great. Then if you want to, after a few more breaths, you want to grab that back leg, that's fine. So everybody knows that the Ridgebacks last week had to go for their dental. And Rishi was struggling from the anesthesia. He was, the way Riley describes it, he would sit there and just like be, I'm shitting, and just like poop, and then you're cleaning up poop. So this was going on for a couple of days. Thank goodness that's over. And then one of those days, I think it was Wednesday. Riley had gone, because Riley had to shower early because Alexa was coming. So Riley had gone down. We had done whatever we needed to do upstairs. And then, so I was going to shower. And then I look and I see poop on that rug, and I see poop on the rug in the kitchen, and then I'm looking closer and I see poop on the floor, like here and there and everywhere. And I'm starting to get really agitated. And I can see myself getting agitated. And then I hear myself saying, oh, well, it's great that Riley can just go take a shower. So here I am, I'm watching myself get angry. I'm watching it. I'm totally there and I'm totally observing what's happening. Now, if you've been there and you want to grab the ankle after, and then for a couple more breaths, and then you can grab the foot. So I'm watching all of this happen. But I was so engrossed in that anger. Even though I know, Riley had no clue that all this poop was all over the place.
I left a bunch of poop for a
So he went down there thinking everything was done upstairs, taking a shower. So there's no reason why in my head I should think, oh, he should be up here cleaning this with me. And this thing, and then I'm justifying this. I've been cleaning poop up for the last blah, blah, blah. However many hours it was. So I'm watching this happen and I'm saying to myself, I'm so angry. And at that point, I'm riding the high of that and there's no turning back. I went right down with that ship. I didn't even wave a flag. I went down. That anger was justified and righteous. And I would go into the bathroom. I'm like, well, thanks for helping. And he's like, what? But that's what happens. We get so caught up in that emotion. And we want to be that observer. We want to observe, oh, dang. And then we can stop it. Sometimes we can't. Because we're not all the way there yet. But every time we stop it, we're successful at stopping it, we become stronger. We become more empowered. We become more determined to say, I'm not this anger. I'm not this sadness. I'm not this hate. I'm not this rage. But it comes from constant examination. Constantly looking at ourselves. Not giving up and saying, oh, I'm butthurt. No, my ego is hurt. Why is my ego hurt? Why did I feel I should be treated this way? Why did I think this should happen? If we don't examine, we keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's called our samskaras, our habit patterns. Death doesn't change our habit patterns. We will come back and do the same thing over again. And I can speak for myself. Life has not been like, whoa, great, I'd like to do this all over again. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to change. And release. Bring it back to all fours. Oh, yes, sorry, thank you. Yes, upright first. Good looking out. So right in line with those hip pointers. We come in with a set of samskars, a set of habits that we bring with us at birth. And if we don't do anything to change those, then we've done everything to reinforce them. So when we go out, those habits, those samskaras, those habit patterns are now they're more fully established in us. Because remember, the jiva travels with the unconscious mind until that point of complete liberation, and then it's gone. And then it's just the jiva. And that unites with the Ishvara. But if we do nothing to change our habits, to work with those samskaras, they just get bigger. And it's harder next time. We must start to examine. An unexamined life is not worth living. That's what Swamiji said all the time. The things that he would say over and over and over again, we need to really pay attention to. And release. Now all force. Do 5 cat and cows. And we have the ability to examine. Don't squander it. Because we can say, I am human, but that's not guaranteed. So we're not human. At the essence of who we are Satchidananda. Truth, knowledge, and bliss. All these other things are just layers that we've got to remove. Next time you come through that cat and cow, I want you to stay there. And then go ahead and you're going to take your left arm through. So if you're a little bit tighter, you're going to slide the arm down more. Let me show you this side. You're going to slide the arm more down towards the thighs. If you're a little bit more open, you're going to slide the hand so the arm is going to be closer to the armpit. And if you need a block or something for the head, go ahead and do that. So you're going to release down. And the head can go on a block. The palms can be down or the palm can be up. It doesn't matter. You can bring the right arm up. You can wrap it around that thigh. You could take it to the hip. So if you've got the palm flat, see if you can really press through the wrist and spread the fingers. Can I turn this? Yeah, nice. Maybe you can flatten the wrist to the floor. Nice. If it feels like it's too much, like I said, you can always angle that arm down more towards the thigh. Yep, nice. Go ahead and bring it up. And let's switch sides. All the same options apply. Important thing is we can't beat ourselves up for when we do go down with the ship, but make that resolve to not go down next time. And once again, that comes from this vigilance. That comes from, we want to be that observer. Let us not squander the gifts that we have been given. Slide it back up. 3 cat and cows. Swing the legs to the right. Bring them around and move into Paschimottanasana.